Hi, this is Trinesha, and today I wanted to talk about suffering is necessary. I know you're going to be like, what is she talking about? Why would that be the thing that she wants to say right now? Like, I'm not trying to hear that I have to go through something to get the things that I want in life. But listen, everything we're going through in life is for a purpose. Sometimes it's just life, but sometimes it's for a greater purpose. And if you have watched the previous videos, you know that life lately has not been going any way that I expected at all. But, I'm starting to learn that that's not necessarily a bad thing. I've met a lot of nice people along the way. And I honestly can say that I would rather live for God than against God any day. I would rather have God be in control of my life and go through things having God with me every step of the way than having to do it alone. Always. And so it's funny because I thought that I would feel more like a lack of something. I thought I would feel like I was losing everything, like I didn't have anything left, like that was everything, like as if God's not the God of abundance, as if he couldn't continuously bless me with more, as if when God took something from me, he wouldn't replace it with something that was even better. And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we spend so much time worrying about the job that we lost, about the person that we lost, about the things that we've lost, that we forget that God can replace everything and replace it with something better. I'm not saying that one person is better than another, but I'm saying that there's some things that are necessary for your life that are graced for you. There are some things that will help you keep that peace that you want to have at a job and a job that God has for you. There's some places that because God wants you to be there, more doors open there. There are certain things in your life that it just seems like it just flows. It's not like you have to force anything because it's just you living your life. You are just being obedient to God and you are just being a good person. You're not doing the most. You're not being over the top. You're not trying to be extra. And I am so, I want to say this because I want to give myself kudos. And I feel like everybody that watches these videos needs to start acknowledging your wins. You really need to start congratulating yourself. You need to start like talking life into yourself. Just talk yourself up. I mean, for real. Like, you know how often we talk negatively about ourselves, like, oh, I knew I couldn't do this. Oh, I knew this wasn't going to work out. I knew this was going to be blah, 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 blah. All of these negative connotations and all of this cynicism circulating in our mind and perpetually cycling through us. And yet we forget to praise ourselves. Yet we forget to give ourselves our own kudos and just be like, man, I did that, because you did. Like, stop pretending like you can't congratulate yourself. Stop pretending like you can't just appreciate your wins. That you can't just acknowledge the fact that you are growing. You can't acknowledge the fact that you are changing for the better. You can't acknowledge the fact that you are evolving and becoming a better person. Sometimes we feel like we have to be so perfect that we don't want to celebrate the wins because we feel like it's going to be like a jinx. But listen, the God that I know, everything that is happening in my life or that has happened in the past is for a reason. I feel like every time something new happens, I'm learning something else from it. And as long as I'm learning, I'm growing and I'm becoming better. So that's not that I'm losing anything. It's not that I'm without something. I'm gaining more knowledge. I'm gaining more insight. I'm gaining more perspective on the person that I am. And so that in turn is making me a greater individual. It's making me a better person. And so how could that ever be a loss? You know? And it's so funny because I had like a few things happen. And I always say this, we get this spiritual amnesia. We forget that God is who he said he is. We forget that he's going to come through, for real. And we start feeling like we really have to handle things on our own. We really feel like we have to bear the burden of the world on our own shoulders when we have God there with us every step of the way. And so as I was going through like these things that I've been through lately while I'm doing Lent and going through this fast, I have just been really, God's been giving me a lot of clarity on things in my life, the things that I need to be focused on, the things that I need to be doing, the things that, like, I'm the type of person that's all in or all out. So, so I will make a decision in life and I'll be like, okay, well, this is what it has to be. And God's saying, like, listen, I understand that you want to be a good person, but that does not mean that you don't have joy. I want you to be happy. And sometimes we forget, we really feel like everything God's going to ask us to do is going to be something that we don't want to do. Sometimes it's the things that benefit us. Sometimes it's the things that make us happy because God truly does want you to be happy. He doesn't just want you to only do the things that you hate doing all the time. Like, in my mind, that's how I thought. I thought that everything was going to be a challenge. And so I couldn't appreciate, and not appreciate, but I couldn't take advantage of the things that were happening in my life because I felt like, okay, I need to stay focused. I need to do this. And it's nothing wrong with being focused, but you have to have a balance in your life. Like me, I would have like this cut off game, like just cutting off people so fast. And we really need to get better with cutting off people. Do you intentionally live your life? Yes. Do you have things that you know that you want and you shouldn't drag someone along? Yes. If there is something in your life that you truly want, you need to go for it with God's blessing. If you know that you want that job, you need to go for it. If you know that you want to advance in your life, you need to go for it. If you know that you want to try to do something and learn a new skill, you have to go for it. You can't just expect that to fall into your lap. You can't just expect someone to read your mind. You can't just expect the job to, yes, God will give it to you, but faith without works is dead. Always remember that. So you have to be intentional in putting forth an effort in every area of your life, especially if it's something that you desire. Don't just have your hand out waiting for God to serve you. You need to be of service. You need to be intentional, serving, obedient, and disciplined. My discipline, my discipline game, the way it's set up, like I'm gonna say like a percentage, and I'm just saying this just because I know a lot of people my age and like in this generation love the percentage thing, but like 90% of the time I'm disciplined. The other 10%, meh, you know, like I try, I really do, but sometimes, I get a little distracted and I try to be better at it. I really do. And it's funny because I was listening to this sermon. What made me want to call this, suffering is necessary is because I was listening to this sermon about becoming better or something like that. And the preacher, she started talking about how things were changing in her life and how, sometimes when we're going through seasons of our life, we feel like we should give up. We feel like, well, this is it. And she said, just because God is giving you a no on one thing doesn't mean it's a no for everything. Sometimes God, when he's telling you no, he's not finished with the sentence. And we feel like we hear the no and we get in our feelings. We get disappointed. We start feeling like, oh, well, if it's not going to happen with this person, if it's not going to happen at this job, if it's not going to happen with this thing, then that means that God doesn't want this for me. God doesn't want you at that place. He doesn't want you with that person. He doesn't want you having that thing. He didn't say doesn't want you to have anything ever again. There's another person that's going to come along. There's another job that's going to come along. There's another thing that's going to come along. So it's not that God's saying no because he never ever wants you to have anything in your life. He's saying no to that one thing. And it's okay. It's okay to feel sad, to feel angry, to be disappointed. It's okay to be in your feelings, to emote because everybody emotes. You just need to know that when God is telling you no, that's not no indefinitely. That's a no for one thing. And you need to take a moment, feel your feelings, and listen to God's next direction. Because sometimes we sit in that moment and we allow it to distract us from our purpose. We allow that to really get us down and like to really feel like, oh my gosh, well, I'm never going to be able to have anything. Oh my gosh, God just wants me to do this. Oh, but it just seems like everyone else. And I know like I'll hear stories about other women and they'll say, I really wanted to be with this guy. And God said no. And I had to watch him be with someone else, and it just felt horrible. And the next year, or the next month, or the next day, they meet this other guy. And the guy ends up being better for them than the person that they were falling all over, or, the person that they desired to have because God knew what they needed more than what they wanted, you know? And sometimes we forget that. Sometimes we really have this idea in our head of the things that we want, and we forget that God knows us better than we know ourselves. He knew us before, when we were formed in our mother's womb. He knows every hair on our head. He knows everything about us. And so why wouldn't he know exactly what it is that you need in your life? You know, like, if you're like me, you try to do the most sometimes. Like, you'll be out here and you'll just be like, I gotta do this, this, and this. All of these things I gotta do. So I really, really have to get all of these things finished. I have to do all of these things. I can't just focus on one thing. I have to do everything. And God's like, why are you doing the most? Like, that's how God will be talking to me. He'll be like, well, why are you doing the most right now when I got you? You know, you don't have to do all of that to get that job. I've already opened the door for you. All you need to do is apply and be you. Why are you doing all of that to get this guy? The guy that I have for you will see you. All you have to do is be you. Why are you going after all of these things when I am God of everything? All you have to do is be you. Be obedient and be you. Sometimes just being the best version of you, most of the time, all the time. I know, I always do that. And then people are like, I'm so confused. Is she saying sometimes, most of the time, or all of the time? But listen, honestly, anytime that you are being the best version of yourself, you are doing everything that you need to do. You really don't have to do the most. I see so many people breaking their neck, breaking their back to prove something to somebody else when all they have to do is just be the best version of themselves and stay focused on God. That's it. If you rinse and repeat that for the rest of your life, you will be good, like real good. Because it's something about knowing that you don't have to seek anybody's approval but God that just makes you feel secure within yourself. It makes you feel worthy because regardless if someone says something nice or mean to you, you still know who you are. You know, regardless if you get what you want or you don't, you still know that God's working everything out for your good. You know, it's just something about having that security in God that really makes you feel secure within yourself. And so, I know this isn't a long video. I felt like I was talking a long time, but okay. I gotta go make some food so I don't eat too late. And then I'm gonna watch one of my TV shows that I don't get to watch that often. And then I'll probably take a shower and head to bed. But, but in conclusion, know that the suffering is necessary. I know at the time that you're suffering, at the time that those things are taken from you, it feels just impossible. It feels like, why God? You know, why me? Why does this have to happen to me? Why is this happening in my life? Why can't I have that thing when it seems like so many other people get this thing? Why is it that I had to be removed from this situation? Why is it that I can't have these things when I see people with so much more? And God's saying, you're not there yet. I'm still working on the inside of you. Everything that I'm using, what I do now, since I got some things taken away, is I pray, God, replace everything that's been removed with something better. I pray and I thank him for all of the things that I have at this moment right now in my life before, the job, the person, the things come into my life, the other things, because I already have everything that I need. I got myself, my health, I got God. Like, if I got God, I got everything. You know what I'm saying? And so I just pray, God, let me learn from everything that's being removed from my life. Every lesson, everything that seems like it's been taken from me, let it be a lesson to be able to propel me into my purpose. Allow me to be able to use that hurt, that anger, that pain, anything that I'm going through in my suffering season, anything that I'm going through in my single season or whatever else. Allow me to be able to use all of those things, leaving nothing on the table. I want it all. I want everything that God has for me. And I don't mean it in a greedy way. I mean, I'm content and I'm happy and I'm blessed and thankful for everything that I have in my life. And I also know that God can do exceedingly and abundantly above anything I can ever ask, think, or imagine. So I'm asking for everything because I don't want to leave anything on the table. I mean, when I'm gone, I want to leave nothing left. I want to be gone on E. I want to help so many people. It's crazy. I never thought I would touch so many people's lives. I want to change so many things within this world that people will be like, I can't even believe she was able to do that. It wasn't me. It was God, you know? I want to be able to do so many things that people will be like, it just doesn't make any sense. She just went one place and all of a sudden her life ended up like this. It ended up like that because of God. So whenever you feel like you're distracted or you feel discouraged, stay focused on God and know that He can handle everything else. And everything you're going through is for a reason. And the storm, I got this saying from somewhere else, but eventually the storm will run out of rain.